No more Mr. Nice Guy. No more Mr. G-E-E-E. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be going through what I bought from HMV. Well, you know that HMV does like 2 for 15 when it comes to the HMV Premium Collection? Well, I went overboard, don't tell anyone. So I've got some interesting movies to show you, and if you saw my intro, one of them might be showing up right now. So anyway, let's get straight into it. This first one, no more Mr. Nice Guy with Jackie Chan. Why, man? This one's basically about a chef who's like suddenly gets involved with some very serious people, and he's a nice guy, man. He's a nice guy. This is an extended original cut. You do get the New Line cinema version, which is only 80 minutes, while the extended original edition is 97, which is an hour and 37. Means you get an extra 17 minutes, which is very good because I love Jackie Chan. I think he's classic when it comes to his kung fu, and he's brilliant at comedy as well. This is basically just that comedy film. So yeah, celebrity TV chef caught in deadly dispute between rival Australian crime lords. See, I knew it. See, it's just that action movie that I picked up for cheaper than 2 for 15. And that's a really good choice. That's Mr. Nice Guy. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Right. Next one, we're going into the 30s with one of the early monster movies that came out before Godzilla. He's his very own villain. The go to Skull Island. You know what's going to happen? It's King Kong. Right. This one I have not seen. I haven't seen the original King Kong. I've seen the Peter Jackson one, which came out during the 2000s. And this one I really want to watch. I love King Kong. I've seen Kong Skull Island, which is a totally different thing when you come from King Kong. But this is the original one. And this is like fully like stop motion animation, which I look forward to seeing. And I think it's just going to be an interesting ride. It's an hour and 44 minutes, which is good. And I can't wait to see that one. That is King Kong. This next one, we've got another monster movie. I think this is like America's like first attempt of doing of a monster movie before they did Godzilla. Back during whatever. But I think that they've done like their own versions with King Kong versus Godzilla, but this is the very own version which they've done, and that is The Beast from 20,000 Phantoms. This one is the sea's master beast of the ages from the bottom of time. It's alive. They couldn't believe their eyes. They couldn't escape the terror, and neither were you. Right, this is just a random buy, man. This is just a random buy. I didn't even know this was even existed. And I saw this like, oh yeah, this is totally up my street. Came out in 1953, which I really expected, because like that's when like sci-fi and stuff like that were our monster movies were at the big right then. So I'm gonna enjoy it because I really enjoyed War of the Worlds, which I really enjoyed because I had the DVD. I prefer the original over the remake, which was directed by Steven Spielberg. I know it's better, can be very critical, but it's just me. The next one, we've got Victor Hugo's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This one I didn't even know I was going to get, but I saw it on the shelf and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was on. So this must be a rare one. It is number 76, came out in 1939. This is like one of the weirdest things I have seen on this label. What was it? Because like, if you're looking from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, this is totally different. This is like a more like dramatized kind of movie. It says, with huge sets, rousing action scenes, and a versatile front portraying medieval parts of Paris of cutthroats, clergy, beggars, and nobles, The Hunchback of Notre Dame remains one of the Hollywood's all-time grandest spectacles. Says Charles Lawton endured a daily 5.5 makeup session to actually become Quasimodo. Ooh. It's an hour and 57 minutes, so that's going to be an interesting movie about Quasimodo, because this is totally different. It's not the musical that came out by Disney. No, it's totally different. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. The next one, we have got some Kubrick. This one, I think it's set during the found inspiration in the works of. Also, it's basically about painters and set during like the war between the British and the Americans, or something like that. Civil War kind of movie. And that's Barry Lyndon. This is like 3 hours, nearly 3 hours long, which is like 3 hours and 5 minutes. I was like, oh shit, why did I pick it up? But you know, it might be interesting. It's a good add to the collection, and I do have it on my watch list. So yeah, that's Barry Lyndon. Okay, now we find out, what is Them? Who are Them? It's another monster movie called Them. Yes, it's Them. But this time it's giant ants. Another movie that came out. This is 1954. Them is a landmark movie that giant radiation mutant ant. Yes, I knew it, fucking ants. I knew it. Gets better with age and boosts remarkable Academy Award nowadays for best special effects. I'm just looking at the back now at one of the ants. It looks interesting. It is an hour and 32 minutes, which is a bit weird for like a monster movie back then. But I have seen The Blob, and The Blob was actually a min, and that is on BFI. If you want The Blob, or what is it? Or was it Criterion? I don't know. I think it's BFI. But that's Them. I want to find out who them are. Who are them? Right. So this next one is basically got Julie Christie, and it carries the demon seed. Fear for her. This one, when I found out, I was like, hey, what the hell is this? Is this a horror movie? And when I only just find out that Demon Seed is actually a sci-fi movie about some alien or something, or computer that starts. I think he's an intruder in someone's house, while this woman is trying to figure out whatever the hell it is. Instead, the intruder is a computer named Proteus, an artificial brain that has learned to reason and to terrorize. I knew it was a sci-fi movie. So that's Demon Seed. That's going to be an interesting experience. Now we've got another Stanley Kubrick. This one is one of the movies that got banned in England over a certain scene. It does star Malcolm McDowell, and that's all I know. This is another Kubrick, and that is A Clockwork Orange. Oh, I love this slipcover. That's really good with the knife and stuff. This was it was banned during the 70s due to like there was a rape scene or something that was included, which would have offended the like families of British public back then. So it did get banned until it got unbanned during the night. Yeah, I think it was the late 90s or something. So I think it's basically about like, you know, this group of like I don't know, like this like gang or something that goes around like doing stupid stuff, like killing people, all that kind of stuff now, until the main leader ends up going to a mental institution or something. So that's what I've heard about Clockwork Orange. So that's gonna be interesting. The next one we've got here. This is basically about like it is a Greek legend, which basically about Perseus, who's like being tasked by his father Zeus to take down the the goddess of death. I think it's goddess of death or something. And that is Medusa. The last one are the snakes and stuff. So that is Clash of the Titans. I can't wait to watch this again. This has got some of the best stop motion animation in a movie from the 80s, which I can't wait to see again. So it's probably the same with King Solomon's Mine or Cutthroat Island or something like that, but I can't wait to watch this again. So that is Clash of the Titans. Right, now we're going into a bit of Hammer horror territory, which stars Christopher Lee as the Prince of Darkness himself. And this is set during the 70s. It's a sequel to a movie called Dracula, 1970 AD or something. And this one's called The Satanic Rites of Dracula. And this is actually the last one in the Dracula series that Hammer did before Hammer actually went debunked until they came back during, I think it was during the 2000s with The Woman in Black. This one looks interesting. It is only an hour and 28 minutes, well, of course, it's a Hammer film. I do actually have Dracula 1975 AD, I think it is. The Satanic Rites of Dracula. the Dreadlord's final finished plan. Yep, I knew it was. So, look, I really want to see these Dracula movies because, like, I want to see a new interpretation of Dracula. You know, the fictional side, like, not like the noble, like, you know, trying to take the piss out of Vladimir Vlad Tepes or Vlad the Impaler. But it's totally different. Right, this next one is basically a man never forgets, a man pays his debts. 100 years ago, they were called Samurai. And this stars Sidney Pollack and directed by Sidney Pollack. And I think it's got something to do, like, it's basically the Yakuza doing, like, Japan or something like that. It's just a random pick-up. Came out in 1975. It looks interesting. I picked it up because of the cover and stuff, with the gun and that. I think I'll probably get, like, some interesting things out of it. But I think it's going to be an interesting movie, an interesting thriller with the Yakuza and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll see where it takes us. So, the next one, we've got about mysterious pregnancies that happened during a solar eclipse, which ended up having children with yellow eyes. Yes, it's Village of the Damned. Now, these are smart as fuck, these kids, man. They're mental. I love the original. I haven't seen the John Carpenter version yet, but that's like a total Americanized version. This is like a British version, which was the original. This did get a sequel called Children of the Damned, I think it is, but this is Village of the Damned. And I absolutely love this film. It's like it came out in 1960, which is the same as The Time Machine, which I'll probably end up showing sometime when I get through them all. So yeah, that's Village of the Damned. Here we go. It's not Dracula 1975. It was Dracula AD 1972. The Count is back with an eye for London's hot pants and a taste for everything. So this was the second last Dracula movie before Christopher Lee decided to, you know, put away the cape, because I think he only talked in the first one and then the last two, because the rest of them he refused to, like, read the lines of the actual script, which was pretty funny, which I heard, and it's like, okay mate, that's a bit weird. So that's Dracula AD 1972. The next one we've got, well, I'm gonna say it says, maybe he would find the girl, maybe he would find himself. So basically it's like a detective who's like gotta go around finding like a missing girl who hasn't been home for quite a long time, and but he's also having troubles as well. So basically it's like, I felt like a child that's gone missing is basically what it is, and that's Night Moves with Gene Hackman. I haven't even heard of this before, but I picked it up because I absolutely love this artwork right here, like with the, you know, with the plane, with the identification for this like private detective or something. But I think this is going to be an interesting thriller. So that is Night Moves. Right, the next one, we've got a bit of Steve Martin comedy. This one it looks a really rad kind of movie. And I'm probably going to have so much enjoyment out with this. And that is, Steve Martin is a world famous surgeon. He invented a screw top Ziploc brain surgery. Trust him. That is the man with the two brains. Now this is probably going to end up being like some kind of daft, you know, I don't know if it's going to be like a Frankenstein kind of movie stylized, but this is going to be fun. I can't wait to watch this. It's only 90 minutes long, frequent moderate sex references and sexual nudity, but I'm loving the brain surgery going on right here. So that's the man with two brains. Right, now we've got a film with Charlton Heston and Lee Taylor Young, and I think this is like the first adaptation of what happened when, like, the world is like overpopulated, set during 2022, and he's trailing a murderer, and the trail leads to a stunning discovery. Vidy realized Soylent Green's world's gains power not from special effects from its heart. A human diameter modified by the performance of legendary Edward J. Robinson. Something like that. It's like a detective story set during the future, which I'm looking from here. So, and that is Soylent Green. So set during 2022, and it was 2022 last year, and I should have watched this last year. That would have been an interesting review. So this is Silent Green. Probably an interesting science fiction thriller, so might be an interesting way to watch it. And the next one, we've got Tom Cruise playing his best as Maverick. You know, the Navy SEAL a fighter pilot. Absolutely brilliant in Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, it's Top Gun. And I absolutely love that artwork. Like, that is brilliant, man. I love Top Gun. I watched it for the first time last year. Absolutely loved it. I loved the film. And I was talking to Pete about it, and he's saying it's got to be one of the best movies of 2022. You know, done well. Directed well, you know. So, that's what I enjoyed. And the next one, we are going into a bit of H.G. Wells, which I also absolutely love H.G. Wells as well. And this is all about a guy from the early 1800s, who, not late 1800s, who's like, I think it's got something to do with like he lost his wife or something like that. Listens from 1999 to war raps and moments of 20th century and into whatever. In that far era, a passive Eloy face a future to prey of glowing-eyed submarine Morlocks, unless the time-traveling stranger from the past intervenes. And that is the Time Machine. Now look at that artwork, man. This is my favourite edition of the Time Machine. I do not like the one with Guy Pearce. Look, I like Guy Pearce as an actor, but I do not like him as a professor building a time machine. So this is the one I prefer. I like the Morlocks. The Morlocks are interesting monsters, and I prefer them over whatever I saw from the original, from the remake. I don't even know, because the remakes I was with him trying to bring his wife back to life or something like that. But you know, I haven't seen that movie in ages, so I'm gonna have to rewatch that. So that's the Time Machine. The next one, we are going from a movie that also had Guy Pearce in a remake called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. This is the original 1973 classic. It's only set an hour and 14 minutes, but I had to get this because I need a new version of the movie. Because when I was growing up, when I watched Don't Be Afraid of the Dark with Guy Pearce, I was absolutely scared of these little creatures that actually end up, you know, they can rip you to shreds, but also they like to eat some teeth. So that's what I've heard about this one. I don't know where it's going to take me, but that might be a new version of the movie that I might like. Plus practical effects, practical puppets, something like that. So let's see where it takes me. So now we've got a film with Boris Karloff, produced by Howard Hughes, directed by Howard Hawks. Stars Paul Mooney with George Raft and Boris Karloff. This is the original version, not the one with Al Pacino. That is Scarface. I haven't seen this version before. Like, I didn't even know it was on the label, and I saw this, and I've got to pick this up. This will come as a really good review. It's basically, it's basically a gangster movie back during the 30s. Scarface is an exciting story of organized crime's brutal control over Chicago during the Prohibition era. I can't talk, man. Academy Award winner Paul Mooney gives an electrifying performance as Tony Monty, an ambitious criminal with a ruthless drive to the city's drive to the city's top crime boss. So yeah, I can't wait to watch this. It's only, I think, an hour and 33 minutes, but you kind of beat the Al Pacino one, but this is a new version, like the original version, and I can't wait to see where it takes me. So that's Scarface. Right, the next one, this one came out during the, I think, 1963. This is one of the first adaptations of the Hill House Hauntings, and yeah, it's basically The Haunting, directed by Robert Wise. I can't wait to see this. They did do a remake which came out in 1999, which had Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson in, which was a bit odd, but I had to get the original. I probably like this more than the remake. I got the remake on DVD, but I didn't look at it right because I thought it had 15 on the actual case. But because I'm an idiot, I ended up buying the American release. So So now I can watch the original one. I got Haunted on Hill House, but that's really different, or House on Haunted Hill, whatever it's called. But that's the Haunting, right? Ooh, this next one's is like one of my favorites for a cover, and it looks so like neo-noir-esque. But this film stars Dustin Hoffman and Roy Schneider, and it's basically all about this graduate student who's he's trying to learn like new stuff. I think he's either trying to learn like how to be a doctor or something, but he ends up like getting involved with the US government, and I think that his teacher or lecturer might be a Nazi criminal, and that is Marathon Man. So what happens when you get swept in by the US government? Now this one I really want to watch for a very long time. Like I want to watch more stuff with Dustin Hoffman. I've seen him in Tucci, like all that kind of stuff. Las Vegas, what else? He was also in like Meet the Fockers and Meet the Parents and Little Fockers, or stuff like that. And I want to see him in more stuff. I got Mad City as well, but this one is what I want to see. Plus I want to try and hunt down all the President's Men as well, so I can add this to the collection. So this Marathon Man might be an interesting thriller. You just gotta see where it goes. Now this next one is the trap is set for Wicked. Who'll do it? Who do it? So like it's like a different kind of whodunit kind of movie. It's like a comedy. It stars Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve, which is a really interesting choice. It gets Dana Death Trap, the fiendish, funny version of Ira's Levin's Broadway hit, starring Michael Caine as the block writer, Diane Cannon as his loving naive wife, and Christopher Reeve as a former student who written a play so flawless even a gifted director couldn't ruin it. Ooh, directed by Sidney Lumet, which is a really good choice because he directed what else? I think it was Serpico and then Dog Day Afternoon, which I still need to watch the rest of Dog Day Afternoon because I was really enjoying that. And that is Death Trap. Can't wait to say this looks really funny. And I love this Rubik's Cube with them just like hiding out. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. And that is Death Trap. Oh, how many have we got left? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 left. We're nearly done. Right, this next one, what we've got here is a superhero movie that came out in 1996, which I think it was. It's got Billy saying all about this guy who's like, got to stop this tycoon who wants the power of like where he lives, somewhere on the island of Bengala, and that is the Phantom. Now I can't wait to watch this. I haven't seen it, but this looks a totally lot of fun, and it's probably way up my street. And I think this is going to be an interesting experience. So that is the Phantom. Now this next one I have heard of. It's got nothing to do with werewolves. It's all about like something about a series of murders that happen, and it's about a detective who's got to solve them. For some reason, it might have something to do with the supernatural, and that is Wolven. Yes, Wolven. When I was doing the video with John, me and John were talking about this, and saying that I've heard it's not a werewolf movie, and I think he didn't like it. I don't know. I can't remember, but it was last year, and he wasn't a really big fan of it. So hopefully I might like it. So we just don't know. So the next one we got here stars Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. It's basically an erotic thriller, and Pete will probably be proud of me for getting this, and that is Fatal Attraction. So I can't wait to see this. I've watched Sea of Love, which is an interesting kind of movie, till I find out who the actual killer was, which was like one of the most shittest endings I've seen, but it was still a brilliant film. I've seen Basic Instinct. Somehow Pete still wants me to do a Basic Instinct, watch long. But I think this is probably like a different like neo-noir kind of like erotic thriller. I think it has potential to be something different. Stylish and sexy, Fatal Attraction took audiences to terrify new heights with a new thrilling story of casual account at gone terribly eerie. Newly remastered in 4K restoration, transferred supervised by director Adrian Lin. So I can't wait to see that. I think it's going to be an interesting thriller. So that's Fatal Attraction. Now we're going on to a very, very popular movie from the 30s. It's like a neo-noir kind of thing. I think it's got something to do with ex-lovers or something. But this one I've wanted for a very long time. And you get a really brilliant booklet with it. And that's Casablanca. It's got one of the most famous scenes in, which is in at the end. Do you know the original release is actually not a 15, it's actually a U. On the DVD, it's a U. And this is a 15. Which is a bit odd, because like for getting re-released, I didn't even know how it's a 15, even though some movies are U. But with this release, you get an interesting booklet. You get a nice thick booklet. It's got really nice material, and I can't wait to watch this because I haven't seen this. But it did get a re-release at the cinema last year, which was like really a bit of a shame because I would have actually would have loved to saw that. But well, that's Casablanca. Came out during the 30s. So that's Casablanca. Free. It's a free disc special edition. So that's really cool. Now this next one I have seen, one of the best psychological thrillers of all time. Until you see Dr. Sleep. Yep. It's got one of like the greatest saying, "Here's Johnny," plus the elevator of Waves of Blood, and that is The Shining. In this edition, you do get the director's cut of Kubrick's classic. I can't wait to see this again, and I think this is probably the most interesting thing you're going to get from it. So that's Kubrick's The Shining. Now the next one I've got here, which is very, very different for me to pick up. Perfect looks and a perfect excuse for murder. So this year, it's basically that TV advert actress is so dark that she could sell you anything. She's only a computer generated illusion. What about the real beauty who was the computer's model? Sorry, you couldn't meet her. She and us like her being murdered. So basically, the movie's like got something to do with this woman who's like so jealous or something. I don't know, but it stars Albert Finney and James Coburn, and that's called Looker. Look at that now. That is some brilliant artwork, man. That's some brilliant artwork for Looker. I wasn't going to pick this up. I thought it was just like, oh man, this looks proper daft. But I read the back and it says, says a bag of tricks for a memorizing thriller of unfriendly persuasion by high-tech trickery. Albert Finney stars as Beverly's plastic surgeon whose supermodel's clients start dying mysteriously. Susan Daly plays the latest patient, also now in peril, and James Coburn is the head of the research facility, which has developed a subtly hypnotic way to sell things. So basically, I think I already know who's done it with the movie. I haven't even looked at it yet, so that's interesting. Now the next one stars Lee Marvin. It's a Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production, but somehow it's sponsored by Warner Brothers. It also stars Angie Dickinson, which is a really good sign because I think she's a brilliant actress, brilliant interest to kill. It's basically there are two kinds of people in this uptight world: his victims and his women. Also, sometimes you can't tell them apart. So it's like, I think this is like a erotic thriller as well or something. It says here, they double-crossed Walker, took his 93,000 cut of the heist and left him for dead, but they don't finish the job. Big mistake. He someday, somehow, is gonna finish them. And that is Point Blank. This is the original Point Blank. There's actually somehow two other movies called Point Blank for some reason, but this is the original Point Blank. This came out in 1967. It's around the same time when Bullet came out, somewhere around that. And I think this is going to be an interesting thriller. It's got strong violence. And you know, it's basically a revenge story, which I'm looking from. So yeah, so that's Point Blank. The next one we've got here stars David Bowie and Susan Sarandon, which basically about, you know, vampires, but they're not called vampires in the movie. It's basically about this vampire who's like starting to lose faith in her husband, who thinks like going off with a woman or something like that, and that's called The Hunger. This is directed by Tony Scott. This looks really interesting. And hopefully David Bowie actually impress me in this, because he's brilliant in Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence and Labyrinth, and I can't wait to see this in a totally different way. For horror, I don't know what kind of hairstyle it's going to have, so hopefully something bizarre. This next one, I think this is like kind of a futuristic kind of movie or something like that. But it says here, Winston Smith endures a squalid existence in toleration of senior under the constant surveillance of Big Brother. Who's Big Brother? That's one thing I want to know. But his life takes a horrifying turn when he begins a forbidden love affair and commits the crime of independent thought. Sent to a chillingly labelled Ministry of Love, he is placed on the mercy of O'Brien, which is Richard Burton, a cruelly treacherous leader determined to control his force and crush his soul. And this is 1984 with John Hurt. I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be like an interesting kind of like dystopian kind of thriller, which I see from this. And you know what? Bring it on, because I'm hoping John Hurt kicks some fucking ass and finds out who's like, you know, taking over his brain or something like that. But yeah, that's 1984. And finally the last one, which stars Leslie Nielsen. And this is like a sci-fi movie that came out during the 50s. You do get two movies. You get Forbidden Planet and you get The Invisible Boy. Now this one I really wanted a long time, Forbidden Planet, because like I see this all the time, like in HMV, and I just love the artwork with the robot and stuff, and I really want to see like a more serious role coming from Leslie Nielsen, because he's normally in comedies, but this is like a proper like science fiction movie, which is like going to take me in a dark turn. It says Forbidden Planet is a granddaddy tomorrow, a pioneering work whose ideas and styles will be revenge engineered into the many cinematic space voyages to come. Leslie Nielsen plays the commander who brings the space cruiser crew to planet Ate 4, the home of Dr. Morbius, his daughter, and a dutiful robot named Robbie, and to a mysterious terror. And it's heard this has got like one of the most like incredible like set pieces like in sci-fi history or something. So, and I can't wait to see where this takes me. It's just a daft like science fiction movie. It's a shame that I really wanted to find like a day the Earth to still, but this one is also in colour, so it might be better than the Day of the Earth stood still. But you just don't know. But yeah, and they all fell behind us. But anyway, just to mention that I will be live at probably around 7:30 for the Pacino night, unless I end up just talking about any random thing, because that's what happens every time I do a live stream. But I hope you guys enjoyed like what movies I picked up from this 2 for 15 HMV premium sale. I can't wait to watch all these movies again. Some of them I can't wait to watch again, but I'm just really happy with the films I got and went very overboard. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you when the live stream comes on. Hell yeah. See you later guys.
Feel about The Exorcist. I feel that it's probably one of the greatest possession movies of all time. I think it was way ahead of its time. I think if you transport yourself back to the year 1973 and imagine what was out in them days, and then this came out, it's just something that you think, I don't know, I would love to have been in the cinema at that point, to go to the first showing of The Exorcist, and to people to see what you can quote a class as a real life exorcism movie. Because to me, it played more like exactly how you would imagine this would happen in real life. And I don't think there's been so many realistic movies like it. And I think it spawned a lot of realistic type movies after it.